Good morning, everyone, or at least good morning for about 10 more minutes on the East Coast. Hope you're all having a great day, an absolutely beautiful day, beautiful Tuesday here in Maryland. And I wanted to jump on here at the lunch hour, as for a specific reason. It's now about 10 minutes to 12. And because I hear this a lot, and I think there's a lot of part misconception, part wishful thinking, going on out there when it comes to fat burn, specifically where you burn fat. And as much as I want to tell you, you can spot burn, because trust me, I would love it. There's nobody on this planet who would love it more than I would, because, in my family, when we gain weight, it's right around the midsection and really nowhere else. So, that's basically where it all goes to. And unfortunately, for the majority of us on this fine planet of ours, where we gain it first, whether it's the midsection, thighs, backside, face, whatever, wherever it is, where we gain it first tends to be where it comes off last. Sorry to burst your bubble, but just because we collectively don't like that answer doesn't make it any less true. So here's the thing. No matter what you try, no matter what workouts you're doing, yes, that's my dog shaking in the background because she has to do that when I'm on Facebook Live. It's a rule. But no matter what workouts you're doing, no matter what nutritional plan, diet you're following, there's two key components to this, two key factors that you need to remember and maintain perspective on as you move forward on your own health and fitness journey. And that's consistency, right? Consistency is number one, and patience, 1 and 2, or even 1A, 1B, because neither one is more important than the other. And I'm going to tell you why. Because genetics plays a role in how we lose weight, how we gain weight, where it comes off first, where it comes off last, where it goes on first, where it goes on last. Like I said earlier, in my family, it's in the midsection. I guarantee what body fat I have is firmly entrenched right in here. Okay? So, and I said it's different for everyone, but I know the midsection tends to be, unfortunately, the most popular, if that's the word we want to use, place for body fat to collect. So, when we start doing all the right things, and I get it, it's frustrating. I exchanged messages with someone earlier this morning, and that's what prompted me to do this Facebook Live. I exchanged messages with someone this morning because they were saying, hey, I've heard, I've read that you can't really spot burn or focus fat burn in any particular location on your body. Is that true? And if so, how do I go about burning it? And I shared the same sentiments with her as I'm sharing with all of you now, that the body's going, you can't tell the body, right here, start right here. This is where you need to go. Forget about over here and over there and on my legs. Come right here first. Just stay right here is fine. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Let's face it, our bodies don't listen. Even if it did work that way, they wouldn't listen. Our bodies are going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to burn where they're going to burn. Now, does that mean that you can't burn the body fat where it collects the most? Absolutely not. You can. But again, you have to be consistent with what you're doing and maintain patience. I get it. It's really, really frustrating when you're doing all the right things, when you think you're doing all the right things, when you believe you're doing all the right things, that you're eating healthy, that you're working out, you're being consistent in that regard, in those regards, you're focusing on all the good things that you need to do to make fat burn happen. Now, and it's not working, or it doesn't seem like to you it's working, because you might be dropping weight, you might be adding muscle, you're looking good in other areas, your arms, your chest, your back, your legs, all looking more developed, all leaner, all more toned. But your midsection, and I'm just using that as an example because that's always been my family's problem area, your midsection doesn't seem to be losing anything. And that's absolutely frustrating. And I get it. I've been down that road. more than a time or two. So I understand completely the frustration and the disappointment that sets in when you're doing everything you need to do and it's just not happening the way you hoped and anticipated that it would. So, that being said, what can you do aside from being patient and consistent that's going to help? One of the biggest things is making sure that you're dialed in with your nutritional plan, your caloric intake specifically. And I've done this in a Facebook video not too long ago, but I'm going to share it with you again. Take the next week or two, preferably two, but at least one, and just track everything you're eating and drinking without changing a thing. The way your eating habits are now is the way I want you to follow them, good, bad, or ugly, for the next week or two. Because just because we think and believe we're eating healthy, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're eating as healthy as we think we are. And really, it doesn't mean that we're still not eating too much, meaning we're eating in a surplus as opposed to a deficit. And even healthy food eaten at a surplus, meaning you're taking in more fuel than you're burning off, you're still going to gain weight. Ultimately, it does come down to the numbers. So if you're burning 2,000 calories, but you're eating 2,500 calories a day, and that's consistently happening over the course of a week, you're going to gain that pound of weight that you didn't want. And just because you're eating healthy foods doesn't change that fact. You can just as easily lose weight eating poorly but being in a caloric deficit as you can gain weight eating healthy and making good choices if you're eating in a surplus. And you take it a step further and you want to make sure that you're doing everything possible, that there aren't some instinctively bad habits that are ingrained in you that you're not even realizing. And that's common. That happens to us all. So that's why I suggest, tracking for the next week or two, because you're going to see some trends developing. You're going to see some, things that are within some habits that were within your nutritional plan that are going to jump out at you, which are going to paint an overall picture of what your eating habits look like, and which at that point you can start making better determinations as to what changes and adjustments and tweaks you need to make, to get into a caloric deficit and to start burning that weight. Then it goes back to being consistent and patient. Once you figured out that plan, once you realize what your eating habits look like, and you figured out that plan of action that's going to be best for you, now it goes back to being consistent and patient, right back full circle. You got to do it day after day after day. You have to be ready to deal with the disappointment and the frustration and understand it's a process. The process takes time. It's not a linear process. It doesn't mean that your body fat's just going to go down consistently like that. You're going to have some ebbs and flows. The goal is overall, you want consistent fat burn within those ebbs and flows. And then be prepared to play the long game. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not trendy. I know it's not what you're hearing from those social media influencers with the 48-pack abs that we all want. I know that's not what you're hearing from them, but it doesn't make it any less true, like I said earlier. Anyway, try that. Reach out to me in the next week or two. Let me know how things are going. Let's talk. Let's chat. We can go over what you discovered and the steps that you need to take moving forward. I'm more than happy to help. So until then, I appreciate you all joining me as always, each and every day. I'll catch you next time. Take care, everyone.
Hey.